You ever feel completely stuck? Like you know what you're supposed to be doing, but there's just this invisible wall holding you back? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that feeling, and more importantly, how to actually break free. All right, let's start with this post I saw on Reddit because it just nails the heart of the problem. This person feels their own creative potential, but it's locked away behind this huge wall of self-doubt. It's that classic paradox, right? I know I can, but I just feel like I can't.
I mean, come on, who hasn't felt this? Whether it's about your art, or a new project at work, or even just making a big life change, that feeling is just so common.
So, let's use this post as our jumping off point and really dig in. Let's talk about what that voice of self-doubt is actually telling us. So when you really break it down, these are the core anxieties, aren't they? It's that feeling of being intimidated by a blank page, or feeling like you've got nothing original to say, or that deep down fear that you're just a fake, an imposter. And ultimately, it's about feeling like you're not in control. These aren't just creative problems, they're human problems. And that right there, that brings us to the bigger picture. Because this isn't really just about a creative block. It's about a fundamental psychological battle that pretty much all of us face. There's this therapist, Jesu Joe, and he describes it perfectly. He says it's basically like there are two sides at war inside of us. You've got that gut feeling, right? That intuition that says, yes, this is it, go for it. But then you've got fear, and it's screaming, whoa, hold on, don't go. It's way safer inside the cave, inside your comfort zone. And this is such a powerful way to reframe it. The goal is not to become fearless. I mean, that's impossible, right? Fear is there to protect us. The real goal is to build what he calls self-efficacy, which is really just the belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. It's about acting despite the fear. So here's the thing. You can't fight an enemy you can't see. And according to therapists, the very first step in this whole journey is just self-awareness. It's about starting to notice the patterns, the triggers, the automatic ways you react that keep you stuck. And once you have that awareness, you can start to see the pattern more clearly. You can even give it a name. And lucky for us, science already has one. It's called the cycle of avoidance. This is the engine that keeps that stuck feeling going. Yeah, so in behavioral science, researchers talk about this broader idea called negative affect syndrome. And the thinking here is that things we see as separate, like anxiety and depression, often aren't. They actually share a lot of the same symptoms and, more importantly, the same underlying engine. And the main gear in that engine, the absolute core of it, it's avoidance. That's the behavior that fuels the whole system and keeps us trapped. Okay, so check this out. This is how it works. It's a simple four-step loop. First, something happens, a trigger. Could be a blank page, could be a tough project at work. Second, bam, that trigger causes a negative emotion, anxiety, doubt, fear, you name it. Third, what do? You avoid. You pick up your phone, you go get a snack, you do literally anything else. And fourth, and this is the absolute kicker, you get a little hit of short-term relief. And that relief is what reinforces the entire cycle, making it even more likely you'll avoid it next time. It's a total trap. So, the million-dollar question is, how in the world do you break this cycle? Well, thankfully, there's a really powerful evidence-based therapy that was designed for exactly this. It's called behavioral activation. And the core idea? It's actually pretty simple, but it is so profound. Instead of trying to argue with your thoughts or fix your feelings first, you just focus on changing what you do. It's all about systematically getting yourself to engage in activities that you actually find rewarding or that line up with what you value. Now, this is the part that might mess with your head a little because it's so counterintuitive. We all think we need to feel motivated before we can act. Behavioral activation completely flips that script. It says, no, action is the spark. You don't wait around for motivation, you go out and create it through action. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, first, you get super clear on what actually matters to you, your goals, your values. Then you make a list of activities that move you toward those goals, from the super easy stuff to the more challenging things. Next, and this is crucial, you actually schedule them and do them, starting with the easy wins to build momentum. And finally, you track what you did, not how you felt. The focus is always on the action. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, this is great for my personal life, but what about work? Well, turns out this internal battle has massive implications in the professional world too. Check this out. The Center for Creative Leadership did a huge study asking managers about their biggest challenges. And for mid-level managers, The number one issue wasn't strategy, it wasn't finance, it was personal limitations.
And what does personal limitations even mean? Well, the report spells it out. It's about overcoming their own self-doubt. It's imposter syndrome. It is the exact same internal battle we've been talking about, just playing out in a conference room instead of a studio.
And it's not just them. When you look across all levels of leadership, you just see different flavors of the same core struggle, from frontline managers dealing with frustration, all the way up to senior leaders battling credibility gaps. This internal work is a universal hurdle. So here's the big takeaway. That feeling of being stuck, that cycle of avoidance, it isn't just some personal quirk. It is one of the most fundamental challenges we face in any part of our lives where we're trying to grow.
And the solution isn't to just think your way out of it or to wait for some magical bolt of confidence to strike you from the sky. The evidence is clear. The most effective way forward is to act your way into a new way of thinking and feeling.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. Forget the huge, intimidating goal for just a second. What is the absolute smallest, easiest action you can take today that moves you even 1 inch closer to where you want to go? Start there.